Hello, everybody. This is Tommy. I'm with Anyone Security's Technical Department, and today I'm speaking about one of the CASE NVRs that I have in hand when it comes to Web Interface and all the configurations related to it from A to Z. As you can see, I'm using Chrome browser in order to get into it because all the CASE NVRs and cameras, they're going to be supporting Web 6 version, meaning that you can get into it using Chrome, Safari, Firefox without installing any kind of additional plugin. Let's give a login to it here. This is going to be the main page. So as you can see, without the plugin in Chrome browser, we're dealing with 16 cameras at the same time. So on the left-hand side, we're having a list of all the cameras online on the recorder with the number 2 indicating that we're using the secondary stream. I can change it to first stream to go with the main quality. As an example of this PDZ, let's bring up the first stream on it. The options that we have down there, I can change the grid of view. It can be 1 camera or 16 cameras at the same time. Then I do have the QR code button, and that's for the P2P connection. The left side QR code, if you scan it with your phone's camera application, that will bring you the phone application, which is going to be video site. So we have to download that one. Then we have to create an account on it. Then inside the account, we can scan the right side QR code to have the ownership of the NVR. This whole process is going to be one-time admin. So first person, they can scan the QR code and they have to share it with different users. Second person cannot scan the QR code directly. They have to ask the first person, create another account for themselves on the phone application. Then the first person can share the access with them. Later on, if you don't have access to the original owner who has scanned the QR code for the first time, you can go ahead and unbind it to give it a fresh start. I will cover the general features here. So disconnect or connect all the cameras, take a snapshot, record a part of the video, swipe within the grids. In this case, if we're dealing with more than 16 cameras, if I'm in 4 grid, I can click on that to go with the next 4. Trigger the speaker of the camera. Most of the CASE cameras that we're dealing with, they will come with built-in microphone. Some of them, they have built-in speaker. And on all the Pro series, you will be having audio out and audio in connection in order to go with basically external source of microphone and a speaker if needed. So basically that one you can trigger from here. If you want to have a two-way audio with the camera, you can use the microphone button down there. Here to the camera's microphone, do a digital zoom or make it full screen. On the right side, there is a small blue button, which is for the pan tilt zoom cameras. I do have one here. So I can move it around, change the speed of movement, set and call different presets down there. As an example here, I can call it preset number 1. Now I can move the camera, call preset number 1, and I will go back to that position. Or enable different features, including wiper, laser, speaker, built-in heater, anything that your camera supports, you can enable it from here because there would be different cameras with different capabilities that would carry in brand CASE that you might have those features on, like the wiper, laser, and the other features like that. The other options would be cruise path and basically creating petrols for the PDZ. So when we're talking about pan tilt zoom cameras, those would be tons of different features that we can configure, including just a simple preset switching, which can be called also like a petrol, or it can be AI analytic in different scenes. We'll move on to that later. Under Playback, you will have a calendar on the right side with blue days indicating that we have some recordings, and that can be in blue and red at the same time. I'm doing 24/7 recording right now. This is a test unit, so you might see that we're missing some parts of the recording sometime because we always disconnect and connect the cameras on this one. But basically, blue is for the scheduled recording. You may have some red bars indicating the parts that you have motion. or AI happen on the camera. So you can basically have a different color for events when you go with the playback. Again, you can do 4 cameras at the same time. Slow forward, fast forward. Take a snapshot, crop a part here to the camera if the microphone is enabled, or have a download. We can download by file or by time. Let's say you're recording only based on motion. So each day we're talking about a few hundreds of 10, 15-second clips that we can download one by one if we go with download by file, or we can combine them all together and make it a single video file and download by time. We're looking for recording. If it's a snapshot, we can go for picture. We can do the schedule recording, search for that one, or just look for the events happening on the camera. Keep in mind, this one should be enabled if you want to have it. If you are recording second stream, you can see it from here. So basically I can search, I'll give it the files, then I can have a download. Under log, you can specify the camera that you're looking for and type of log that you want to have, and then you can go with query, and that will give you a list of all the logs happening on all the cameras and the NVR, and then you can export them into a file if needed. Here, you will have different users like admin is logged in to the NVR doing a PDZ control. That's us probably a few seconds back. Yep, that's us. Configuration, basic sets, or common setting, you may see it on the NVR. That's basically the shortcuts to some general configurations. We're going to cover those all on the left side. Digital channel will be the place that you can search and add the cameras. Basically, the camera management in your NVR. We're talking about the plug and play feature on CASE NVR. How that works is it should be a CASE camera connected to one of the PoE ports of the NVR. In that case, the NVR will give the camera an IP address, will assign it automatically. It will synchronize the password of the recorder with the camera and add it to your recorder. That's called the plug and play and activation process that we have. But if the camera is on the network, for sure, we have to assign an IP address to it and add it manually. I have 8 channels on here, meaning because this one is a CS-N110 P8. So basically, it's going to be a 10-channel, 8 PoE NVR. We're having 8 PoE ports with 2 extra licenses that we can add on the NVR, making it 10 channels total. On CASE NVRs, when you go with network, you will find out that you're dealing with 2 different NICs. Especially on this one, we're having 8 PoE ports. Those are marked as PSE, and you can change it. It does have 192.168.3.2, so all the cameras you're connecting to the PoE ports, regardless of brand, they should be 192.168.3. something. If needed, you can change that one. And LAN number 1 will be the LAN connection of the recorder, so you can assign the IP address, subnet, gateway, DNS, and all the information about that one here. This is something different when it comes to the 40-channel NVRs and above, because on those, you may have 2, 3, or 4 gigabit LAN ports that you can do 3 different options. One would be multiple address mode, meaning that you will divide the NICs into different physical networks. As an example, your LAN number 1 would be dealing with the internet connection. LAN number 2 will be dealing with the cameras network just to have everything secure. You can do load balancing. Basically, both LANs would be working on the same subnet, just balancing the incoming bit rates. Or you can do network fault tolerance. Basically, that will be a rate between your LAN ports. When LAN port number 2 goes down, LAN port number 1 is there to take the place. Let's jump back to digital channel. So when I search for the cameras, I'll see everything on the network and on the PoE ports. If it's a CASE camera, you don't have to worry about the range of IP address because you will see it here based on physical layer search based on MAC address search, and then you can change the IP address of the camera to make it the same subnet. But if it's an OnVIF camera, another brand camera, you have to make sure it's OnVIF enabled and it's in the same range of IP address so that it can talk to the NVR. That right there is a mild side camera that I have, shown as OnVIF. Since it's on the switch that I have to make sure it's 104 dot something, because my NVR is 104 or something, and the subnet is 255.255.255. I can checkmark the camera from here, go with add. If it's the first time I'm adding the camera, it'll ask me to synchronize the password, putting the same password as the NVR on the camera as well. Or I can go with customize adding, and that can be private, meaning it's a CASE camera, OnVIF, or RTSP. All the CASE cameras and NVRs that you have out of the box are going to be OnVIF enabled, supporting profiles S, T, and G. So you don't have to worry about mix and matching CASE cameras with third-party recorders or VMS providers, or vice versa, connecting third-party cameras to CASE NVRs. You do have the option to add another recorder to your existing NVR, so basically you can specify the channel number that you're looking for. You can do batch add, like add from 104.22 to 104.30. Or suppose that this one is a recorder, you can add first 4 channels of that one to your recorder. It might happen that there's a fisheye camera or some specific dual, triple, quad lens cameras that we have out there that they will provide you with different channels as an output, so you can specify the one that you want to add. If you do have encryption password enabled on the camera, that's an option that I'll show later. You can put in that password here, and that will be a go. PoE power information, that will show how much of power each of the ports is using, and that's something that you have to keep an eye on, especially when you install the cameras for the first time on the project. For a couple of minutes, you can monitor this one just to make sure everything is going smooth. So as you can see, I do have one camera on the PoE, that's the PDZ camera that I have. And that will show you the total amount that the NVR can supply, which we're consuming 5% of it right now. Each port, we're talking about up to 30 watts. That will be PoE plus. But the total supply on this one is 70 watts. So basically, if you connect 2 PoE plus cameras, you're down to 10 watt remaining, and probably 2 PoE plus and 2 PoE would be maxed out on this unit. So if it's a PoE camera, you don't have to worry about it. If it's a PoE plus camera, you have to do the calculation. If it's a PoE plus plus camera, then we have to go with an industrial switch supplying up to 60 watts or more, or we have to go with PoE plus plus injectors. Audio video set, that's by default the best configuration. If you face something strange, you can change the configuration from here. Go with, this one is not the default configuration. The default is going to be H.265. You can enable S plus as well. That will be basically H.265 plus 2x compression, half of storage consumption. That's the encryption password we were talking about in digital channel, so you can put in an additional layer of security on the camera. If I do that, anywhere I want to grab the live view or the playback, there'll be just a black screen asking for that additional password. Region of interest, let's say a wall is covering half of the scene, so you can tell that this part is more important to me. When recording, it will reduce the quality of the other parts just to save more storage, and you can have multiple ones. Audio configuration, as you can see on this entrance camera, I do have built-in microphone, but at the same time, I do have audio in connection. I do have built-in speaker, but at the same time, I do have external audio out connection. Those cameras, we call them full interface cameras. So you will have audio in and out, alarm in and out, built-in microphone, built-in speaker, just to, provide you with all the features. Whenever you're dealing with third parties, you can change, the audio encoding just to make it more compatible with that system. Microphone sensitivity and speaker volume is something that you can adjust here. Under image settings, again, you're dealing with the best configuration, but you can go with wide dynamic range under backlight set if needed. Keep in mind that the NVR is covering all the general configurations. Sometimes when you get inside the camera interface itself, you will find out tons of different features that you can configure from there. As an example, on this camera, if I log into the camera itself, I can do HLC, highlight compensation, which I don't see it on the recorder. Or I can upload my own logo to be on the camera as basically as a sign to your business. Image settings. So here again, you will see the best configurations, but anytime you see something strange, you can change it from here. Under backlight set, you can go with wide dynamic range if needed. Keep in mind that the NVR is covering all the general configurations. If you log into the camera interface itself, you may find out some specific features that you don't have the access to the configuration when it comes to the NVR. As an example, on Pro Series cameras, when you get inside the camera itself, you will find HLC highlight compensation as an option, or you can upload your business logo to be on the image of the camera itself, which you don't see it on the NVR configuration. I recommend anything you can configure on the NVR, that's fine, but if it's a pan-tilt zoom camera or a PDZ, log into the camera itself because you have tons of different features there that you can play around with. Under schedule, I can tell that this camera is working indoor or outdoor. Day/night, there we're talking about 3 different technologies that you have in CASE. Starlight, Super Starlight, and Color Maker. Starlight cameras and Super Starlight cameras, they don't have a light. It's going to be IR, but they have a larger image sensor, aperture sensor, so they can grab more light from the environment. So even though if it's pitch dark, but you have a small amount of light in front of the camera, that would be divided between the pixels to provide you with a colorful image at the nighttime. Now, if it's a color maker, that's the end of the story. You will have the light of the camera itself to shine up when it's pitch dark. Everything about that is configurable here. So basically, by default, it's auto. And as you can see, it shows you the real-time brightness, which is 100% on this camera. It says if it goes more than 60, it will consider it as daytime. And if it goes less than 20, it will consider it as nighttime. Now, this one does have both. It does have IR and lamp. So basically, I can control both. The IR, I can make it auto. The white LED, I can make it auto. And I can adjust the brightness as well, or I can make it closed. If you go with color mode, you will force the camera to work in color mode, and then you can make the light to work based on a schedule. Turn on at the nighttime by force as an example, or make it manual open and adjust the brightness. On-screen display, here you can change the name of the camera, put in additional text, or basically change the location of the timestamp and put it somewhere else. Video mask when you are not allowed to record a part of the screen. Privacy mask is going to be the same thing, but for the pan-tilt zoom camera. So this part, let's say I'm not allowed to record. Now when I move the PDZ, that part is black. Network, we already spoke about LAN number 1 and PSE here. Under other, you will find the RTSP stream if needed. Under DDNS, that's a free DNS service that we provide. So you can go for the P2P connection, scan the QR code, and that'll be a go. But if you don't like it that way, and you want to go with port forwarding method, but there's no static IP address at the side, you can use this one. And how's it going to work? You just choose a name here, see if it's already taken or not. And that will give you a URL which you can use in order to get to your public IP address of the moment. Port forwarding, when you want to change the default ports of the recorder. PoE channel port forwarding. So right now, we're connected to the LAN port, but we have some cameras on the PoE ports. If you recall, that PDZ is on one of the PoE ports. So I can get into the PDZ camera by using those ports. So if I type in 192.168.104.52, which is the recorder, I can put a column and put 30011, and that will get me to the PDZ. And once I'm logging into the PDZ, I can use the server port. So it's going to be username, password, and the server port, which is 30020, to get into the camera itself and do the configurations. Let's recall that again. That PDZ is on the PoE ports, and the PoE section is separated with the LAN connection. It's going to be two different NICs that we're talking about. Network detect, that would work just like a ping in your network. Under advanced set, you can set which IP addresses can access the recorder and which cannot. Basically, create a blacklist and a whitelist of IPs. Under email, you can configure your email server and up to 4 different receivers in case that you want to receive notifications via email. I would recommend push notification because that's way easier to configure. As soon as you have the recorder online on the phone app over the P2P connection, there will be an option on the phone app itself which you can enable the push notification. Under access platform, you can make Envoy for P2P disabled if needed. More important thing here will be event schedule. That's for event inputs and event outputs. We're talking about alarm in and alarm out connections that we have on the recorder and on the cameras. So basically, it's a pair of wires working like a relay. So you can have it on normally open or normally closed. Based on the time that you want, you can trigger different actions on the linkage. So buzzer, that'll just beep inside the recorder itself. On screen display, you will have it on the image of the camera itself. You can receive an email with a picture attached to it. You can make one of your cameras single screen onto the TV attached to the recorder. Or you can have a customized text to be shown on the TV attached to the recorder. Those texts are customizable. You can set those under plan management. Event output, so basically you can trigger another alarm out of your camera or NVR, have a recording of your cameras, have a snapshot of your cameras, or call your pan tilt zoom camera to look at a different preset or a different cruise path or mode. How that works is, let's say as an example, you do have an access control system. Somebody gets inside the apartment. Now you do have the alarm out connection of the access control reader or controller connected to alarm in connection of your NVR or camera. Then there's a huge PDZ outside, which you can force the PDZ to go and zoom in at the front door to find out who is exactly getting inside the building. Event output is the same thing, but for physical alarm outs. As you can see, I do have one on the recorder itself, local, and then the rest would be for the cameras that I'm adding to the recorder. Motion configuration, if you're planning to have recordings based on motion, so you select the area of interest, put the sensitivity in there, make the schedule, and make sure that you have the recording check marked. You do have this option of having the other cameras to record when camera number 2 here, as an example, detects the motion. Mask when someone covers the video in case of video loss, and other alarms you can get notified over email or buzzer. Manual event, as you can see, I do have 1 alarm out on the recorder and 3 of my cameras. They all have alarm out connection, which I can trigger manually if needed. Clear all the events here. VCA, that stands for Video Content Analytics, and that's the place that you can configure AI on the cameras. On CASE, we can do it 2 different ways. Either it's going to be the camera itself doing the AI edge side, or it's going to be AI NVR turning dummy cameras into AI capable cameras. So basically, it depends on how you want to do the project, what's the requirement, and then you can choose basically the best model to suit the project. But this one, if you're doing it edge side, it totally depends on the camera. So basically, if it's a beginner camera, it's going to be doing tripwire and parameter, and you cannot even specify the type of the object to tell I'm looking for people, cars, or both. If it's the middle series, you can do tripwire, parameter, and you can specify the type of the object. And if it's a Pro series, then you can do up to 18 different AIs, including on-duty detection, safety helmet color detection, loitering detection, parking detection, face capture, face recognition. It depends on the project, but any AI you see out there, you will have it on CASE cameras, accurate and reliable. The only thing you may miss for now, speaking 2025, would be license plate recognition, which with that one, we can go with mild side cameras. That's something that we provide at One Security. So that one can do the license plates in best case for you. This PDZ camera, I can do behavior analytics. I can do 8 rules to work at the same time, and those can be all the options you see here. Tripwire, that's basically a line crossing, left to right with this direction, and then from right to left, it will be the other direction. Double tripwire, parameter, object abandon, missing object, loitering, running. So parameter, that will be an area that I can make it sensitive. For last line, you can just double click and that will connect it automatically. I'm looking for people, cars. So in case of a human being getting inside the area because it's an intrusion, like even if they are inside the area, after 1 second, they will trigger it. But if it's unentered, they have to be outside the box and then get inside the box in order to be triggered. So in case of intrusion, a 1 second, 6, show event count, show alarm rule, save it right there, and that's how I configure AI. Now when I go with the live view of the camera itself, it will show me the line saying that it didn't trigger yet. You do have the schedule, that's 24/7 for now. Each rule has its own schedule. Like if I change it on rule number 1 here, so that's rule number 1. On rule number 2, I can have a different schedule, a different rule. 8 AIs at the same time, that's what you get on this camera. Now under linkage, you do have the same type of alert that we spoke about before, but with some extra features depending on the camera. You may have front white light to trigger the light of the camera, and front end warning. Basically, that's firing up the speaker with some pre-recorded voices. On this one, you have 4 pre-recorded voices, and you can upload 2 customized ones as well. You may have laser or auto tracking if it's one of the cameras supporting that feature. Under facial configuration, you can configure face capture and face recognition cameras. This 10-channel unit, it only supports face capture, so I do have face detection. There's nothing crazy about configuring the face capture, so basically you put the minimum face size, and then it will start capturing the faces. If this one is not a face capture camera right now, but if it's a face capture camera, you will tell that I'm looking for the best capture, meaning it will capture 10 times and give you the best, or I'm looking for the fastest capture. And then the face capture cameras in CASE, they will tell you the age, gender, whether they're wearing mask or not, whether they're wearing glasses or not, automatically. Let's jump into statistical report. That's for, again, face capture cameras. It will give you an overview of all the captures recently, and if it's the software that you're using on the Windows and Mac, going to be the Net Video software. That's the CMS that we have. On that software, you will be able to see the faces as well. Or on the actual unit itself, connected to the TV, you have that option, but not on the web. People counting. For people counting cameras, you can have a list, like a report, and heat map. That's graphical heat map. Doesn't have anything to do with thermal cameras, although we do have thermal cameras in CASE as well. Let's jump into storage. So here by default it's recording 24/7, but you can change it to motion only. If you leave it on 24/7 and you enable motion at the same time with the recording on it, then that would do both at the same time, meaning you'll have blue color for the recording with red parts for the motion happening on the cameras. But you can make it motion only. I can copy those days to all and copy this configuration to all the cameras. Even you can mix and match, like do half motion at the night time, schedule at the daytime. So it depends on how you want to configure it. A and R, if you have it on the NVR and on the camera, that's automatic network redundancy. So the camera itself is recording on the SD card. Once there's a disconnection, and then once you have it back online on the recorder, it will send all the information to the hard drive just to have like a backup. On 40 channel NVRs and above, we do have a lot of redundancy options. Like you can do RAID between hard drives, RAID 0, 1, 3, 5, 6, and 10. You can do hot spare recorders, we call it. It's going to be like using two NVRs of the same type doing the same job. When one goes down, the other one would take the place. Or A&R, which we already spoke about. Packaging mode is by default 1 GB. It will overwrite, meaning it will delete the oldest day. But you can tell I want the event record videos to be there locked on the hard drive. Schedule your holiday here. Under picture settings, that's a useful feature for construction sites. As an example, you want one snapshot from that PDZ each Thursday at this time to your FTP or email. Disk management, that will show you the hard drives. You can have up to 24 hard drives on our recorders. It depends on the one that you're configuring. On this one, it's just a 10-channel single hard drive slot NVR. After putting the hard drive for the first time, for sure, we're going to check mark it here, format it for the first time. Under HDD strategy, you can tell which cameras to record on which hard drive. Check for bad track or fully reindex your hard drive. NFS, in a case that you're dealing with any kind of network file storage, that can be used only for storing snapshots, no recordings. Put the IP address in there, and then the path you want to put the files in. As well as that, you can FTP to your server. The dome set is for the pan tilt zoom cameras. You can force them to go back to preset number 1, which is going to be the home position after. The dome set is for the PDZ cameras. You can force the PDZ to go back to preset number 1, which can be set up as your home position as an example after 30 seconds. But again, I recommend if it's a pan tilt zoom camera, configure it from the camera interface itself. System, that's some general configurations, the time and TP server and daylight saving time. Under output set, you can make it self-adaptive, which is by default, or you can change it up to 4K 60 Hz on most of the units and 30 Hz on the smaller units. User management, you can create different users and those can be admin or common. If you want to create a customized user, make it admin. And then under permissions, you can set all the limitations, local and remote. Local live view, remote live view, local operation, remote operation, local and remote playback, and camera control if it's a pan tilt zoom. Are they going to be able to move it around or not? And then manage all the connections from here. That's us. Under maintenance, you can factory default, reboot, or shut down the recorder, or auto restart if needed. Under upgrade, you can check for new firmwares. If there is a new firmware available for the recorder, it will notify you on the phone app, on the PC app, and on the actual unit itself, but it will not automatically upgrade the unit because you may want to have it offline for a couple of minutes at that time. And local PC setting is for basically the path to all the snapshots and videos you're taking on this web interface and all the formats to it, like MP4 for the videos and JPEG for the pictures. This was the story of the web interface. I hope you liked it. If you do have any questions, any concerns, any parts that you want us to go with more details on, just feel free to contact N1 Security. I was Tommy, and I hope you have a great time. Bye-bye.